Russia has requested an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council in connection with U.S. strikes on Iraq and Syria. Russia has requested an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council, SC, on U.S. strikes in Iraq and Syria. This was stated on February 3rd by First Deputy Permanent Representative of the Russian Federation to the UN, Dmitry Polyansky. We have just requested an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council in connection with the threats to peace and security created by U.S. strikes in Iraq and Syria, says a message published on the Telegram channel. Polyansky clarified that the Guyanese presiding in February planned to appoint it at 16:00 New York time, 11:00 Moscow time, on February 5th. Earlier that day, Russian Foreign Minister Maria Zakharova said that Russia is seeking that the U.S. strikes will be considered at a meeting of the UN Security Council. The day before, the U.S. Central Command announced attacks on targets in Iraq and Syria. It was clarified that the country's armed forces hit more than 85 targets using a large number of aircraft, including the use of long-range bombers, which were sent from the United States. During the airstrikes, 125 munitions were used. According to the latest data, almost 30 people became victims of the strikes in Syria. National mourning was declared in Iraq. Also, on February 2nd, U.S. President Joe Biden announced that Washington's response to the attack on its military base in Jordan, which occurred on January 28th, would continue. At the same time, Iraqi government speaker Bassem al-Awadi pointed to false U.S. claims that the strikes were previously coordinated with the Iraqi authorities. He said that the U.S. actions constitute naked aggression and are a threat to the security and stability of the country. Later, on February 3rd, the Iraqi Foreign Ministry summoned the U.S. Charge d'Affaires in Baghdad and presented to him with a note of protest against the backdrop of missile attacks on targets in Iraq. The Syrian Foreign Ministry, in turn, called the U.S. strikes a violation of the country's sovereignty and security. The department indicated that Washington carried out strikes in areas where the fight against terrorists is already underway. On the same day, Iraqi Shiite groups within the Islamic resistance in Iraq announced that they had shelled a U.S. military base in northeastern Syria as a response to the mass genocide in the Gaza Strip. Attacks on American bases in the Middle East have become more frequent amid the escalation of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, in which the United States supported Israel. However, on January 25th, Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin said that the United States and Iraq negotiations would soon begin on a transition from the coalition military presence of American troops in the country to sustainable bilateral cooperation on security. Then the Pentagon added that the upcoming negotiations will not touch upon the topic of the withdrawal of American troops from Iraq.